I will screen share again. Whew. Great catch. Will you come to all my webinars? All right, we're back. We're back in, and here we are with what's a flip hunt. So let's get started right away. First of all, missed a slide. Here's the plan. Here's the overall plan for today. So first of all, this is being housed in Microsoft Teams. That's where we're running this meeting, and some of you might be new to that. So we're really excited. I'm a Microsoft fangirl, and just that's my platform. That's what I love. So I'm really happy that you're here and you're experiencing Microsoft Teams. If it's your first time, it's really, really nice platform to present from and to have these live meetings in. So welcome. I'm going to ask all of you, if you would please, to mute yourselves and turn your video off. You know, we've been in this remote learning for so long that most of us are used to doing that, but I think somebody's microphone might still be on. So if you could just hover near the bottom of your screen, you should see a floating toolbar that kind of pops up, and just make sure your video and your microphone are off for right now. At the end, we'll do questions and you can totally come back on, but it just makes it a little bit easier for everybody else to pay attention. The chat. So the chat is open, and I have two computers. I try to do this. So I'm presenting from one, and on the side I have a second one where I go over and I check that chat every once in a while. So I will try to do that throughout this, but we have so much to cover. Feel free to hop in there, post questions. Even if I don't answer them in time, I'll get to them at the end, I promise. And get to know each other a little bit and share some things in there. And lastly, here's how we're going to do this. We're going to do, I'll do a couple of slides, intro slides, then we're going to jump out into live demo, because that's my favorite way to share, right, from actual websites and things like that. And then I have a few closing slides. Guys, stick around to the end. There's good stuff at the end. Some of your questions, like, will this be recorded and where can I get this? And, you know, those kinds of things, they all happen at the very end. And yes, it will be recorded. On the right over here, just want to thank Microsoft and Q for having this webinar series. It's going on all summer long. They have a whole, like 30 different presenters. Just the schedule is updated every single week, so keep checking back. They're all free PD, you know, whatever you want to learn. So just amazing. And to check it, it's at this aka.ms/get-a-schedule. And the GETA actually stands for Global Ed Tech Academy, but isn't that catchy and easy to remember? So get a schedule. And I'll go to the next slide. Here we go. And this is, sorry, I'm going to skip that. This is just a little bit about me. So I live in New Jersey. I work in a public school system, and I am a technology integration specialist there. So where you live, that may be called a tech coach. I support teachers in using technology in meaningful ways in their classroom, and I love it. I love my job. I am a presenter, and sometimes I do some keynote speaking. I just thought I'd put on here, I have a Facebook page in case you're Facebook people. I call it Integration Innovation, and sometimes I just post cool tech tips and tidbits for teachers there. I own an ed tech consulting thing that's also called Integration Innovation. I am a wife to my hunky husband, Matt. I'm a mom to my awesome son, Ryan. And I am a poodle owner to my cute little 10-pound miniature poodle called Bridget. I am a crazy avid coffee drinker. I'm on about my 7th cup today so far. And I have it right here by me. And then there's just a few of my hobbies. I traveling, camping, those kinds of things. I put nap taker separate because in my life that deserves its own bullet. I am a nap taker. I will probably take one today if I can fit it in. I am the creator of Flip Hunt. So this is my jam. And in about 2 weeks, I can say that I'm an author. I can say that I'm an author now, but this book, which is pictured down in the lower left-hand corner, Sail the Seven Seas with Microsoft Education, I have co-authored that with my friend, Becky Keene, and I think it's about 2, maybe 3 weeks out from being released. So, oh my gosh, I'm crazy excited about that. I never wrote a book before, so it feels like a really big deal. And on the right, there's a whole bunch of badges from companies that I love and work with, and I know and I admire their products and I use them all the time. The one that I always start by explaining is this one here, because my eyes get drawn to that word expert, and I want to tell you that That word intimidates me. I know a lot about Microsoft. I don't know it all, but being part of that community, that MIE expert community, means that if you ask me a question and I don't know the answer, I know somebody in my community who does. So that's where the expert part comes in, and I'm just really lucky to know a lot of people. So hopefully I can answer any of your questions. And of course, Flipgrid is part of Microsoft, so I'm super proud to be here and represent them and this really cool, fun, innovative thing called a flip hunt. I'm going to skip that. That was my advertisement on Twitter this morning, and I'm going to come out and start with, where did Flipgrid or Flip Hunt begin? And for me, it started, a first grade teacher in one of my schools came to me one day. This is my blog. I apologize. This is my blog, also called Integration Innovation. And I typed up some of these things as I was living through them, and I blogged about them. And so I'm going to take you through a series of tabs here that sort of explain the background story and get you into what a flip hunt looks like, what a good one looks like, and how to create them. So this all started back a little over 2 years ago, I suppose. And one of my first grade teachers, let me make this a little bit bigger for you. You don't have to read it all. I'm gonna summarize this. About 2 years ago, one of my first grade teachers said, "Hey, Kath, I'm going on a field trip with my first graders. We're going to the zoo, to the Philadelphia Zoo. We live near Philadelphia. And I want to do something techie with that." Oh, and just a reminder, if you could mute your microphones, I can do it too, but I'm just going to ask you guys to take care of it if you don't mind. Thank you so much. Just makes it easier for everybody to pay attention. So she was going to the zoo on a field trip and she wanted to tech it up. So I started thinking, and this blog explains, I started thinking of what could this teacher do at the zoo that's kind of techie. And I ended up, after a lot of ideas, coming up with the idea of a scavenger hunt. Originally, I thought they could take, an iPad and give each chaperone an iPad and do something scavenger hunty. That went from take a picture of a turtle, take a picture of a giraffe, to sort of some action-based things. And I thought, oh, they could video record this on their iPads. And you can see here, this is an example of what I came up with and what I gave that teacher then. And this is, 2 children smiling with an animal that has claws. 3 children making fishy lips, right, at an animal that mostly lives in water but is not a fish. What I did here, and this is the beginning of all this, is it was their academic content. This was things that our first graders were learning about. Notice the word herbivore, right, predators, different words that they were using. So it was a little bit fun. It was content-based, and so it just gave more meaning to this field trip for these children. And I said, let's just go, why don't you just go off and take iPads or take phones and video these things, give each parent a piece of paper that has this. And that seemed like a pretty good idea at the time. And I actually had come up with a color-coded chart of all the different things that she could do with this, how she could run this, it wasn't even a flip hunt then, the scavenger hunt, and just different options that I color coded. Notice down here at the bottom, I stop with this kind of red bar. And the reason that I'll share these links out later, but right here is what happened next. So that night I went home after I had already shared this with the teacher, and you'll see this blog post says, I had a flipiphany. And that means like an epiphany. I went home and I'm like, oh my gosh, what is wrong with me? I'm a Flipgrid student voice ambassador, and I hadn't thought about the possibility of using Flipgrid for this. If they were going to take video on their iPads, why not do it in Flipgrid and make it sort of a beautiful community kind of experience? So if you'll notice the new chart that I came up with, I added a bar down to bottom, and it says Flipgrid is perfect for this. And it ended up being absolutely perfect for it. So again, I kind of laid that out, what that was going to look like. It wasn't a fully developed idea yet until I really thought about it and fleshed it out and thought of all the different ways and options. And I even came up with a logo for it right now, or that bluish, greenish, yellowish, now famous kind of a logo for Flip Hunt, right? And I got stickers made up and everything. So this is, if you go on your browser, Bing browser, if you're a Microsoft person, and you ever just type in, what's a flip hunt? which is the title of the session, it will bring you to this blog. And this was my blog that I wrote, and it's still out there, and I've updated as things have changed. I actually linked to that field trip article right at the top, and I linked to that Flipiphany, but it all brings you here. So a flip hunt. What is a flip hunt? Well, I used to say it's a digital scavenger hunt, but I've changed that. I'm now calling it a video-based scavenger hunt that is completely organized and run in the amazing Flipgrid environment. And I'll start by showing you an example. And this was one of my early examples. And by the end of this webinar, you're going to see why it's not the greatest example. But actually, I'm going to skip. I'm going to do this one first, and then I'll come back to that. This is my very first one that I created besides the zoo one, and this was really fun. This was a skeletal system flip hunt. And you can see in there, it's academic. It's the content that our 4th grade teachers were teaching about the skeletal system. But every one of these challenges has an action verb attached to it, right? So wiggle your phalanges, sing and act out head, shoulders, knees, and toes, but use names for the skeletal bones that as you touch each one, right? So it's a little bit academic. It's a lot of fun. Kids just laugh and laugh and laugh. And guess what else this is? It's an assessment, right? If you're watching your students go around and they're able to do and check these things off, they know this stuff. So it's probably the most fun assessment you're ever going to do in your life. This, and I'll come back to it multiple times. The important thing about this flip hunt is each one of the things has movement or action. It's getting kids up out of their seats, whether they wander around your classroom or they wander around the school or the campus or now their homes. It's movement based. There's a little bit of silliness to it, right? And hopefully you're tying in some content. So this is just a ton of fun. I'm going to come back up to this other one, and I'll tell you why this one, it's different. It's a good example. I'm glad to show it to you, but it's not the best one. Look at how it's got 3 levels, right? It's got the green, the yellow, and the red. What I did with this one is I was trying to show an example of how flip hunts could be differentiated. So we've got, the green ones are the easier ones, and then the red ones are the hard ones. So look at the very first option on here, find a symmetrical quadrilateral, and then look at the one at the bottom. Construct a dodecahedron out of straw, show it on video, and explain how you made it. How many vertices? Okay, so yep, I'm just going to remind everybody to mute your microphones again. Thank you so much. All right, so you can see that there's, we told the kids, pick one yellow, one green, one red. The red ones are more challenging if you want to do those, bonus points, that kind of a thing. I don't have points assigned to this. It was honestly just a fun exercise. The reason this isn't perfect is this first one. A couple of these beginning ones, they kind of bother me because there's no action verb there, right? So a student might get up and find, it's got some movement, go find a symmetrical quadrilateral, but it's kind of going to be a boring video, right? So movement, action verbs, whatever, I'm going to repeat this a million times. It becomes really important. Let me come down a little bit further. And all this is on this blog post. Again, if you use your browser and you search what's a flip hunt, this blog post will come up and all these directions will be here. So here's just a little bit about how I do it. I just simply create, and I'll show you how to do this in a second. I create one and then I add it as an attachment on Flipgrid. You guys know when you create a topic, you can add an attachment. And back then I was using Google Docs for this. I now can use Microsoft Word and of course Microsoft, and I attach the document right to the bottom of it so that even if I print it out and I give the students a paper copy, they also have it on their phone or on their iPad or their computer or their device. They can access it digitally, which is pretty nice. So the list attached to the flip hunt in this way. I will show you 2 ways to create these today, but that was my first. All right. This was something I came up with next. These were what I call planning considerations, and this is totally up to you and how you want to individualize it. How many players do you want this to be? Are they going to play by themselves, with a partner, or in teams? I really like the partner one a lot. I really like the partner one best because you can pair a stronger with a weaker, or, they kind of teach each other. It's also a great accountability piece. So, if there's somebody who's not too into an activity like this, it just becomes more fun when they have a buddy to complete the challenges with. How do you want to score it? Just I don't want to read all of this to you, but I just kind of want you to think like, do you want to score it? Whenever I do this, they're pretty much scoreless. That's just my thing. I just enjoy doing them for the fun of doing them and watching them and discussing them before and after. But you could come up with a point list, and I'll show you some that have done that. You could attach a rubric to it if you're rubric based. Lots of considerations about how to keep score. How long do you want your flip hunt to last? Do you want it to last one class period? Or if it's pretty lofty, you might want it to last a couple of weeks as you do a unit of study, or a week. Or you could even make, a term or semester, or even a whole year if you're really getting crazy with it. I have run a week-long flip hunt for staff in my school before. Oh my gosh, like a teacher one is probably even more fun than a kid one, because teachers are fun when they do these. And then where do you want to do it, right? Like, and I had talked about, in the classroom, in the school, do you want to take it outside? Do you want kids to be able to do it at home? All right. So there are more links on here. And I'm going to take you to this one right now. So I worked with my friends, Jess and Anne and Journay at Flipgrid, and they wanted to write something about this on their blog. So again, if you type in what's a flip hunt, it will probably show you this as a search result too. So you'll find two things, my original blog post and then this one, which I actually link out to in mine. And it had some rules. And I worked with them to come up with this. It's a really great graphic about creating a flip hunt. These are sort of my tenets of design when I make this. A flip hunt is a digital video scavenger hunt that happens on Flipgrid. It's a video-based scavenger hunt. Like I showed, it's really easy to differentiate for all your different content areas, all your goals. So I usually say, if you're creating a flip hunt, what are you teaching? Teachers, we always start with the content. We start with the pedagogy. So what are your learning goals? Make a list of that, or your vocabulary, or whatever it is, and then we'll go from there and we'll create challenges. We're going to do this today. You want it to be creative and fun and engaging. You want to tailor your tasks and challenges to meet your needs and the needs of your students based on what you're doing. And then this one with the little sneaker next to it, again, I keep hammering home on this. You want movement, you want opportunities for creative responses, you want a little bit of silliness in there. You can use it as a formative assessment. These are great assessments. Consider doing this instead of whatever next test or quiz you were going to do. Your students will just love you. And actually on Twitter, it says here to check out Flip Hunt or Flipgrid Fever, but instead of Flipgrid Fever right now, we're using the hashtag Flipgrid for all. So you can check those out. But guys, if you just go on Twitter and type in hashtag Flip Hunt, you'll see a lot of inspiration there. And Flipgrid, my friends at Flipgrid went on to do sort of like a Q&A interview. And there's a lot more about how you can employ this, and how you can do it with teachers, and target tips for doing this the best possible way. I'm not going to read all this to you because we're going to do it live as part of this webinar today. All right, so let's hop on to the next tab. I see that I have many friends and people that I know in this chat, and it's making me really happy. Thank you for coming here, and keep sharing with each other in the chat in case I forget to look over there. I appreciate it when you guys drop in links and things like that. All right, the real beginning of Flip Hunt, when it really was launched, was 2 years ago this summer at an event called Flipgrid Live. So a whole bunch of people from all over the country, and actually from other countries, flew to Minneapolis, Minnesota, where Flipgrid headquarters is. And we had 3 days of just Flipgrid love. There were just all kinds of awesome events going on. Oh my gosh, there was like an ed camp thing and whatever. And as one of these, my friend Priscilla and I had 15 minutes to do a presentation. And I said, well, I've been working on this flip hunt idea. Would you mind if we present this kind of, we only have 15 minutes. So imagine presenting all this in 15 minutes. We got up in front of a crowd of already Flipgrid users, right? Flipgrid enthusiasts, and presented this idea. And I want to share it with you. You can also find this grid. It's open all the time. If anybody would type this in the chat for me, for everybody else, that'd be awesome. So it's flipgrid.com/FL Flip Hunt. And the FL stood for Flipgrid Live. So flipgrid.com/FL Flip Hunt, or if you're already in Flipgrid, that grid code that you enter is FL Flip Hunt. And it will bring you to this, and it's open. There's no password. You can just go in there, and it's got all these topics right here. But the very first topic says the Flipgrid Live Flip Hunt, because I want to show you. This is how it looked, the very first one that was ever launched. It said, This is it. This is where all the crazy, ridiculous flip hunt happens, fun happens for Flipgrid Live 2018. And here are the details. I set everything to be a 1-minute response on this one, all of the challenges. The document is listed down here, and I'll show you a little bit more about how the rest of this works. For this one, I was just encouraging people to just try it. So let me launch this because I think you will have some fun with this. Remember, there were like 600-700 educators who descended on Minneapolis, and I created this before I got there, and this was the flip hunt list, the first ever flip hunt list. I'm hoping you can see these. Hang on a sec. Let me see if I can make it a little bit bigger for you. That should be better. All right, remember, I was in Minneapolis, and so this whole flip hunt was themed not around academic content, right? Because it was for just fun for people, but it was around where we were and what we were doing. So this was all about Minneapolis. I looked online. I had never been there. Evidently, there's a fish kind of a thing called lutefisk that is eaten in those parts. And so I said, you know, eat some lutefisk. Notice that each challenge that I made on this list, so it was a Google Doc, you know, and with just check boxes down the side. This one was called Jump On In. Jump into a body of water while yelling, "I've got Flipgrid fever." We were joking a lot about more cowbell. It was kind of a Flipgrid joke back then. Sing a little song or ditty with a cowbell keeping beat. And I'm going to scroll quickly and then come back to some of these. I think it was 3 pages long. Yeah. So you can see here, I could go for a kiss. Kiss the foot of the golden gopher statue because we were at the University of Minnesota, I think it was called, and that's their mascot. So the golden gopher, if somebody could find that, you know, take a video of doing that. Badges, find someone who is wearing some sort of a badge and ask them if you can take a video of it for 10 seconds. Show them your Flipgrid badges if you're so inclined, right? And so most of these things were based around Flipgrid and Minneapolis. This one was kind of fun. Mic drop. So Mike Thulson from Microsoft was there, and I had made a bunch of stickers with his face on it and brought them with me to this thing. And I kind of had them readily available. And I said, if you can grab a mic sticker and sneakily drop it on someone's back, don't tell them that you dropped the mic on them, right? So a mic drop. And so all of these were just fun and crazy, but you can see it's not a word, it's not 2 words. Each one is almost a sentence describing this silly or crazy movement-based fun activity to do. And so, yeah, 3 pages of challenges based on where we were and what we were doing. Remember, you can always get to this because it's back on this grid, which is open, and that's flipgrid.com/FLFlipHunt. And you can always come see this if you need inspiration or you're just looking for how to kind of make yours sillier. All right, oop, I did that one already. So that's kind of where it started. And now I am over here. Oh, the next thing I wanted to do was take you into a Word document and kind of show you how I'm thinking this. So over here, I have, let me go to the right one. Okay. Last night, actually, this is really interesting. Yesterday I was on Twitter and somebody happened to tag me in a post. An educator had asked, hey, does anybody have an example already made of a flip hunt for Spanish words, for Spanish vocabulary, for middle schoolers, 7th and 8th graders? And I didn't even see this tweet. It was just out there. But another friend of mine who had seen it tagged me in and said, I don't, but maybe @Kersey does. That's my Twitter handle, @Kersey. So I saw this and I thought, I'm doing this live demo, this live webinar today, and I could use a topic about which to do it. So I thought, well, that's what we're going to do. We're going to do Spanish foods. I'm not a Spanish teacher. I'm not a Spanish speaker, but you know what? I had some fun with this, and I'm hoping that this will show you my thinking. I feel like a think aloud is really great to share how to do a flip hunt. So this is what I started with. I looked up the word for food. Evidently, it's comida. I don't know if it's la comida, but it's comida. And then I created my first one this morning. So again, just a Word doc with little check boxes, right? And it's drive-through. Notice how I name it and I put it in bold and I underline it. When I create a flip hunt this way, I do this, and this will become apparent to you in a little bit as to why I'm doing this. So I name it, underline it, and then I describe it. So this one was just kind of fun. I thought of this one last night. Choose any 5 foods from our vocabulary list, assuming we have a Spanish vocabulary food list. Have someone else film you while you go through a pretend drive-through and order them. Order these 5 foods entirely in Spanish. You could stand outside a window or be seated in your car. Imagine this for home learning right now, like just how fun this would be for your students. Are they practicing vocab? Yep. Is it from your list, from your content? Yep. Is this a bit of an assessment for you? Yep. And are the kids having fun? Yes. Most important, right? They've got to have fun. All right. So I came up with a couple other ones. I just didn't want to drop them in all at once, but let me go get them off this other Word doc. Oops, sorry. And I'm going to bring them back over here. Okay, so let's look at a couple other ones. This is my thinking as I'm doing this. Notice I didn't say, hold up a picture of a hamburger and say hamburguesa, right? Like, not a fun video. These are fun videos. These are going to be great. Look at the cooking show. You're the star of a cooking show. Do the show intro entirely in Spanish. Welcome the audience to the show. What will it be named? And explain what you'll be making. List the ingredients that will go into your dish. Pretty fun, right? Definitely not a stagnant kind of a boring video. Waiter, pretend that you're a waiter and explain in Spanish the specials of the day to people who are seated in one of your tables. Use at least 3 of our food words and 2 of our cooking terms. So I was able to kind of make this without even knowing the Spanish part. Think aloud shopping, and I thought this was pretty fun. From our foods list, see how many you can find in your own home. And then get a bag or basket and pretend that you're shopping. As you pick up each item, say it in Spanish before you put it in the bag. Bonus points if you add a descriptive adjective to each one. Guys, I didn't know this, but hermosas manzanas, I think I got it right. I think it means beautiful apples. And the second one, I think means this lettuce is fresh. There's some people on the call who I know, or in the chat who I know Spanish, and they can fact check me on that. Wrap your food. Actually, wrap your food in Spanish. Use 10 or more words from our vocab list and make a rhyming poem, and then record yourself wrapping it. Feel free to use food props for fun. And the last one, I had some fun with the last one. I don't know what. Teaching English. Find a recipe online that is written completely in Spanish. Pretend that you're teaching a class of Spanish-speaking students and read it in Spanish, which is great pronunciation practice. But as you come to any words from our food list, look up at your class and teach them the word in English, like papas fritas, you know, that kind of a thing. So these were just a few ideas. I seriously came up with these in about 10 to 15 minutes. So it's as much fun to make one of these as it is to do one of these. Muy bien. Oh, good. Thanks. Esta lechuga es fresca. Oh, good. My Spanish wasn't too bad. So I used Microsoft Translator to get a couple of these things. Again, another Microsoft product. Hey, when I'm done with this, of course, you guys get the idea. You'll come up to share, right? And I would have to save this to my drive, but I'll just get a link to this document, whether it's in Microsoft or if you're a Googly person, it'll still work, you know. Get a share link for this. Actually, I should probably do this right now. I should have done this before right now. And once it's saved to my OneDrive, then I will be able to get a share link. Just make sure it's not editable, right? So you want the kind that's just locked down, or you could save it as a PDF. Okay. So I want to change this from not being able to edit, right? And then apply, and it's going to give me, it's view only now. So I'll just copy that link to my Flip Hunt. Oh, by the way, if you are looking for this image to use in things, if you just search it in your browser, it comes up. Like it's available, and so copy paste it. It's not copyrighted. Have at it. Lots of people do. All right, so now I want to go back to my internet, back to my Edge browser. And here I am. And so if I was creating a new one today, I would do this. So I'm going to walk you through the steps. You probably already know this if you're a Flipgrid user, but let me have at it here. So we're going to make a grid, and we're going to call, whoops, sorry. We're going to make a grid and we'll call it Geta, right? For this series, Geta I always use the hashtag with it so we don't forget that it's like something you can search on Twitter. So get a flip hunt. I'll just make this one public. So educator learning community. And guys, if you didn't know, you can always customize the back end of this. So I'll type in get a flip hunt. And look, it's available, thank goodness. So then we'll click next. I'm not going to set a password or anything like that. We'll just click next again. And look, our grid is ready. It'll be live after today. Get a flip hunt. And here we are. I'm not even going to change the pretty picture. I'm just going to kind of go through this quickly and show you. I'm going to add a new topic. There are 2 ways to create flip hunts. I'm going to show you a different way in a little bit. So the topic is going to be get a flip hunt. And here I would type my directions and I'll just do this. But I'll tell you what I would be typing in there so I don't waste your time while I'm doing it. I'm going to type in there, guys, you have 1 minute for each response. The document, and I'll change that right now. Or less, whatever you want to set your time limit as. I just don't kind of want 5-minute responses for this. So I would say that. I would say the document you need with all the challenges is attached to this topic. Now listen to this, this is important. Do you remember when I had each challenge named and underlined? That's because when the students submit that challenge, so if they submit the waiter challenge from the one that we've made, they're going to put waiter in as the title of their grid submission. So I'll kind of show you what that looks like. I'm just basically putting my directions here. And then I don't need to moderate those, so I'll just put a smiley face as my grid header, and I will create this topic. And we're all set. We're all set. All right, then I'm just going to come back in. I'm going to edit that topic for a sec. So let me just come down here where I know it always asks me, hey, do you want to add an attachment? Well, yes, I do. So I'll put that right there. And I've got my topic attached so I can update it. Oops. Did I mess it up? Oh, I didn't give it a title. The challenges. And I'll update that topic. All right, now it's attached, and you can see right here, that Word doc is attached so that they have it digitally. Very often when I do these, I do have a printed copy too, because it's just fun if you're running around, especially if you're outside the classroom or the school, that you've got something that you can check off. So, if you want to save a tree, then don't just let them have it digitally. All right, so there it is. And then I just share this grid with them and they go to it. When they are ready to respond, they would come to the grid. Here's the topic. And Flipgrid, click the green plus to start your recording. Now I think it's not going to let me demo this because I already have my camera running. I don't think it's going to do it. Let me try. I already have my camera running for this. No, I'm actually not going to go in and do it. But they would just come in and collect. Now, each student is going to, remember, they're going to title their submission with the name of the challenge. So if they did waiter, they will put that as their title when they submit it. If they did, I forget the other challenges, but that's how when you look through this topic, you'll see you'll have your whole class doing as many of these as they can. You'll be able to tell which one each person did because they're adding that underlined title as their submission topic title. You know what I mean? Okay, so that's kind of how the whole flip hunt thing works. But wait, there's more. Keeping an eye on my time. Okay. I wanted to show you this because this is a different way to set up a flip hunt, and this might work for you. This is one I created, I don't know, just after remote learning started. I wanted to create a giant flip hunt that was open. Anybody in the world, you can do this. You can do this with your kids. You can do this with your family. You can do this with your class. Have at it. It's open to the world. The Great Global Learning Flip Hunt. But instead of making one document with each of the challenges, I set it up this way. The grid is the flip hunt. Each topic is a challenge. Let me show you what I mean. So there's no document attached to this one. This is the name of the whole flip hunt, right? And here, see 16 topics? Each one of these is a subject area. My directions are on this front page about this flip hunt. This is frozen. Look, there's no It's frozen. There's no place for kids to submit because this isn't a challenge. This is just the directions. That's how I decided to set this one up. All right. And of course, if your kids can't read that, we have the immersive reader built in. All right. But let me just show you. Come on, there we go. I wanted to make it subject area based. When I planned this, I was thinking, could 4-year-olds do this? Could 44-year-olds do this? And would it be fun? Can people in rural cities do this? Can people in rural areas do this? Can people with, not much money or resources? I was just trying to think of the world when I put this together. So I'll just show you a couple of these challenges. So each one of these is a challenge. Again, no paper on this one. So I'll just take you to, here, let me take you to math class. And this one was a toilet paper challenge because toilet paper was all the rage then. Unroll an entire roll of toilet paper and then measure its length. In your video, tell us how long it was and how you got your answer. And then roll it back up because that stuff is valuable right now. And it was really interesting. I heard from different people on here that they thought about it different ways. Some of them figured out the length of a square and then multiplied that. It was just really clever, the different thinking on that. And yeah, we've got kids from all over the world who've been trying these challenges. Really fun. Look at the pictures. And grown-ups. And grown-ups. Adam is a grown-up. He's a friend of mine. And for gym class, make a creative obstacle course and go through it. These are going to be some really fun videos, right? Any age, any grade. I hope some of you do this, do this on the weekend with your family or whatever. It's really, really fun. And it's really cute to go in and listen to the accents on these other kids because they've been doing this from all over the world and it's super fun. All right, I'll show you one or two more. I don't even remember. Oh, music class. Sing part of any Disney song using a kitchen utensil as a fake microphone. I figured people all over the world of all ages pretty much know a Disney song. And so you get the idea on this. This was just pretty fun. This was one of the most challenging one. I know I have a couple of world language teachers on here or ESL teachers. Make a fun chart like the one in this picture for this topic. You can make it on anything. And then down the left side, put 4 pictures of food, put 4 languages across the top, and then use an app or website to learn how to say these words and say it's just kind of a world language challenge. Yeah, there's some kids. Look at the work that went into making these. This was the hardest one. So you can see this one is set up differently. No paper, no checklist. This is a grid where each challenge is a topic, right? So we have 2 different ways to do this. I hope that makes sense. All right, I want to keep moving. I forget what's on this tab. Oh, I know what's on this tab. So if I can get there, yes. This is really important for me to show you because you might be looking for examples. You might be saying, hey, if somebody already created this, why can't I kind of steal their ideas and make it my own? Are there some of these that already exist? Oh, heck yeah. So I have come to flipgrid.com, right? And I've come across the top to this thing called Disco Library. I did a session on Disco Library the other day, a whole hour just on that because it's worth it. And Disco stands for discovery. So let's discover what's in here. If you come down this page, and you go to search topics. If you type in Flip Hunt, you're going to find a bunch. A whole bunch. How many? 41 topics in here. And that was me typing it in with the hashtag. I wonder if there are more if I type it in without the hashtag. Oh my goodness gracious. Look at that. 908 topics for you. At this point, I want to stop and just let you know, beware. You have spent this time with me learning what makes a good flip hunt. Remember, movement, fun, silliness. You want your challenge to be a sentence or 2 long so they really know what to do. It's got some kind of action. You know what a good one looks like. In a minute, I'm going to show you what to avoid because I've seen some not so great examples land out there and they're not actually flip hunts. And we'll talk about that in a second. So when you're going through this, keep in mind that these people who posted, and maybe they're not the best examples, didn't have the benefit that you do of listening to my thinking and what this probably should really look like. So there are tons of them here in the Disco Library. And if I take you back to, yes, the flip, remember the one that I showed you from Flipgrid Live. So flipgrid.com/FLFlipHunt. I actually, I didn't know that people were going to start sharing them to the Disco Library. So on social media and wherever else, I was encouraging people to post them here. And you can do that too. This is open. I created 16 topics and each one was a subject area. So if you are a social studies teacher, you'll find a couple of examples. There aren't a ton in here, but this is where I kind of directed people to store some in the very beginning. Miscellaneous flip hunt ones in here. If you're looking, I'll tell you why I come to this one sometimes. If you're looking for staff PD, yeah, this is where the money is. So professional development flip hunt ideas, there are some excellent ones in here. And if you want to teach teachers how to use Flipgrid and get them hooked in your school, this is totally the place to go. Create one of these for the teachers in your school or for any group that you're doing. It is so hysterical. I've done them with teachers. I've done them with my relatives. You're creating crazy challenges and people are doing them on video. What's better than that? There's your plan for next weekend, right? So you can just create a flip hunt and let your family have at it because it's really awesome. There are 2 places where you can go to find great flip hunt examples, right? And also search Twitter for the hashtag. Okay, I'm going to come back out to my PowerPoint now. To here. All right. Because I want to talk about this. This is the thing that was most important to me to cover today. What is not a flip hunt? And now that you've been through this and you see what it's like, you guys are knowing this. So a couple of weeks ago, I saw somebody post on Twitter, hey, look, I found a great flip hunt. Guys, this is not a flip hunt. This is a checklist that you send your kid outside with. This would not be fun video, right? Flower, water, tree. These are great. This is why I love scavenger hunts. When I was a little kid, this is what I started doing. You know, we'd have these outdoor or indoor scavenger hunts or go around the neighborhood and find things. That's great. That is literally just a scavenger hunt. It's awesome. The second one, I had seen somebody post once again, you know, I see these and it's not quite it. Somebody posted that they were doing a flip hunt with a license plate game. And I think their child or their children or whatever were sitting in the back seat and they had this color in the map thing. And when they were driving down the road on a trip, the kids were coloring in, you know, oh, there's a license plate from Wisconsin. And they would color it in. Not fun video, right? There's no movement. There's no silliness. It was literally, that's a coloring paper, not a scavenger hunt. And this one is probably the one I've seen most often. And I just really want to caution you and everybody on this call, I'm going to ask you to help me spread the word on this one. Teachers really want to do a good job of making a flip hunt about a book or something that they're doing, right, with ELA, and that is totally possible. But I've seen a lot of these where it's not a flip hunt. You don't need a flip hunt, you need a highlighter, right? I've seen teachers say, here's a flip hunt for this book. It's a text features flip hunt. Find the table of contents. Can you imagine that video? Here's the table of contents, you know, find the index, find a picture that has a caption on it, find a subheading. So again, that's not a flip hunt. These are examples of what not to do. And I felt like it was kind of important to share those because I want to keep you thinking creatively and movement and fun and activity and silliness and all those things. Here are some great ones that I found online. I hope you can see these. The one on the left, and I had posted these on Twitter, was done by a Spanish teacher who they were studying artists in advanced Spanish. So look, all of the directions are in Spanish. So the students had to be able to do that. This teacher made a grid and made things worth different points, right? Notice each one has that name: listening, cooperation, joy. They all have a name, but the students really had to have a great grasp of Spanish and their art content to be able to do it. Look down here, it's 100% based on his curriculum. This guy owned it and he did an awesome, awesome job. On the right, okay, when I first saw it, I thought, oh no, there's that just shapes thing. But look at the directions at the top, and that's what made it good. It's a quadrilateral flip hunt, but they said post a video showing your item and explaining how you know that you're correct. Make sure to use correct academic vocabulary. So it's got meaning. It's not the most fun one, but at least it's got that going on. And down the bottom, there are some fun choices. Look, make a rap or a cheer, use chalk to draw. So again, action verbs, action verbs, action verbs. I can't stress that enough. You know, keep it fun. Couple other good ones here. Oh, this was one that I did for my staff. We called it the Great WTPS EdTech Flip Hunt. It lasted a week, and staff in all 7 of my elementary schools were invited to participate. I asked them to do it with a partner so that they could film each other for some of these, and they were all different kinds of things they could go around the school and do and be silly. It was, and then I had a gift card giveaway for the winners, the people who did the most. On the right is one that was created by my friend Christine McKee. She's an MIE expert and also a student voice ambassador. She, as an ed tech coach, teaches Microsoft Office tools. So she made a flip hunt about those. And look, she's got a section for Microsoft Forms, a section for Teams, and I just see all kinds of great action verbs in there. I can tell just by looking at the length of her challenges, she's done a really good job. And for her, it actually works as an assessment, right? Because she can see that her teachers know those things. So it works great in that way too. All right, and here, oh, this one was pretty interesting too. This was a young children's phonics based one. Look up here. Find and record a video showing an object that makes the oo sound. They weren't finding a word, they were finding an object. And I just thought that was pretty interesting to tie elementary phonics and sounds into a flip hunt to look for those. So that was important too. All right, we are coming to the end of this, and I will come over to the chat and do some questions in a second, but I have a couple other things that I want to share with you, and I'm hoping you'll be glad. I'm doing some more of these webinars for this Q.org and Microsoft Global Ed Tech Academy kind of a thing. So I can just tell you that right now, if you go to Q's YouTube channel, I already have a couple of recordings posted there. I did such a fun one the other day on Flipgrid AR, you know, where you scan the QR code with the Flipgrid app and things pop out in augmented reality. I did that and I shared like 25 or 30 ideas for doing that. That was really fun. I told you I did a whole one about the disco library. Oh my gosh, we discovered so many cool things in there. I have one coming up. Is that tomorrow? Oh, that's tomorrow on the immersive reader from Microsoft. And then a few times during this series, if you look at the schedule, and I'll show you the link for that in a second, I do something called office hours. So if you have questions about what I've shown today, and you just kind of want some time with me, office hours is literally just me in a room, and you can come into one of these meeting rooms and you don't have to leave your mic on or off. You can turn it on, or you can type questions in a chat, and it's just a little bit more private time where I can answer some of those things. So just open office hours. All right, so this is the first time I'm trying this. Oops, I just realized a mistake on it. People have asked, can we get PD hours for this, or whatever they're called where you live? Are we getting certificates? No. Neither Microsoft nor Q is issuing certificates for this, nor am I, but I thought I'd slip this in as a slide. If your boss will accept this screenshot it. You might as well take it right now. Look, I made a fancy certificate there for you. What's a flip hunt? And there's my signature and all that kind of stuff. So if you can screen snip that and then pass that off to your boss because you think they'll accept it, great. This will also be in the recording, so if anybody's watching the recording, you can do that too. So I just thought I'd sneak in a certificate, and it has no authenticity or backing of Q or Microsoft behind it. It's just from me. And then I'm going to leave with, thank you for popping in to join me today. I'm really, really appreciative that you came here. I hope you learned a lot about flip hunts. I hope that you help to teach others what a flip hunt is, what it looks like, and what it's not. And you have a bunch of resources where you can go learn more about them, including me. Oh, I didn't say, at the very bottom right of your screen, it's been on all the slides. There's my email address and my Twitter handle at KERSZI. So if you want to reach me in either of those places, that'd be cool too. I'm just going to direct my attention over to the chat, and I'll hang out there, but I think what I'll do is stop the recording here. I think. And then I'll take some questions in the chat if there's anything over there. Come on, come on. Okay, what's going on over here? Oh, thank you. Okay, so I see lots of questions. Oh, not too many questions. Mostly just happiness. Oh, I love that you're happy.